Hey gamers, Gecko here. It has been a week since the rank mode has come out in Guilty Gear Strive. I myself was a massive vocal supporter of rank mode being added to Guilty Gear. I hated the way that the old tower system works, and I just wanted skill-based matchmaking in the game. So, with a week of reflection, has my wish come true? Does Strive have a better way to play it than just going into tower and praying? Yes, I really like the rank mode. I have been playing it pretty much religiously since it came out. This is like the only day that I've not booted up Guilty Gear on or off stream, and it's because I'm forcing myself to take a day off. And even then, I'm still thinking and talking about it. I really like the rank matchmaking in Guilty Gear Strive, but it's not perfect. I think it is important to criticize the things that you love the most more than you criticize things that you don't like. I want Guilty Gear to be the best fighting game that it can be, and thus, I want ranked matchmaking to be the best version of ranked in any fighting game that it can be. So, I'm going to talk about the things that I really like about it, and we're going to address the things that are not so good. Just as a heads up, in case you're not familiar with my ranked progression, and you don't know whereabouts we're going to be talking from with this perspective, I currently have one character in Vanquisher, and another one in the middle of Diamond 3. I think we're probably going to get Geo to Vanquisher sometime next week. This is from the perspective of a higher-end player by the game's definition. So we're going to touch on the Diamond experience as well as the Vanquisher experience, and talk about the criticism I have regarding that as well as just general things that I'm sure you have experienced. If there's some things I don't touch upon, let me know about them in the comment section below. If there's any critiques that you have that you would like to be implemented, put them down below. Maybe Arxis will read them, who knows? So let's do what I like to do best. Let's start on a positive note. The mode itself is fucking amazing. I was very vocal about the fact that I thought if Guilty Gear got a working matchmaking mode, it would be so much more popular than it is. I don't want to jump the gun because, again, it's only been a week, and the player count is technically still going down, but it seems to be leveling out more and more at around double the amount of players compared to before the update came out. Granted, this is pretty normal for a fighting game, and it is nowhere near touching the heights of Tekken or Street Fighter anymore. There was a little bit where it looked like we might overtake Tekken 8 for a hot minute. But as things are cooling down, the Steam player count has seemingly doubled, and I think this is a reflection of how good the mode just is. There was one thing that rank needed to do above all else. Work. You needed to be able to press a button, the matchmaking finds someone around your rank, and it puts you in a game and just works. And I can safely say 95% of the time, it does exactly that. It's very rare that I find myself in a situation where it doesn't work. I've had maybe a handful of games that have either booted me out the moment I got in, or we've had connection problems, but for the majority of the matches that I've played in Strive, assuming that they are wired, they have been extremely pleasant experiences. Speaking of wired connection, the ability to see if a game is Wi-Fi or Ethernet is fucking beautiful. There's nothing more annoying than playing in a very tense competitive set and then suddenly your opponent lags because they're on Wi-Fi and they move a little bit like you didn't expect, or actually that counter hit that you got, you didn't get the counter hit for, and it just feels extremely annoying. So being able to rule that out entirely and just avoid Wi-Fi players is... it's beautiful. I didn't realize how bad the difference even was until recently. There's been a couple of Wi-Fi players that I've fought as a, like, fuck it kind of measure, and it is generally pretty bad. I think I've had maybe, like, one Wi-Fi player that I fought where I was like, yeah, that was fine. And the rest of them, I've gone away being like, I shouldn't fight people if they're on Wi-Fi. This is is why you get an Ethernet connection. People won't dodge you on ranked if you're wired. To look at the top end, I really like how Vanquisher actually feels. I've been playing a lot of Vanquisher off stream, and I have definitely plummeted down on my DR, but it's really nice to go in and feel like I'm constantly being challenged by the best of the best players. It's not a situation where half of the lobby has no idea what my character does and the other half are just dominating the shit out of me. It feels like a room filled with very high-level Guilty Gear players who are trying to improve as much as they can. I love the feeling of fighting in Vanquisher because it feels like I'm fighting my peers. The grind to get there was pretty grueling, but now that I am there, even though I'm losing a lot, I still feel worthy, I guess? There is obviously still a difference between a high-level Vanquisher player and me. I'm not Xander or Jack, but the fact that I can go in and hold my own against some people is really cool, and there's never a single match I go in where I feel like, wow, that was easy. I'm sure for like actual top 8 pro players, that feels very different. And of course, as the weeks go on and more people get into Vanquisher, this opinion may change, but for right now, week 1 of Vanquisher, beautiful. And those are the good things, I have to say. Granted, it seems like a short list, but you have to remember, the majority of it is the fact that it does exactly what I wanted it to do. I've had no real complaints about differing skill levels on characters. I've had no real complaints about getting into matches. The only real one is the fact that there is no sound notification when a match is ready. But even then, they're working on it. Arxis have said that they're addressing that bug. As an overall package, I really liked ranked mode. But there are still things that I think could be done better. This is one that you've probably heard several times before, and you are going to keep hearing unless they change it. The first to 2 format. If you don't know, competitive Guilty Gear Strive is run on a first to 3 format, aka a best of 5 format. This has become a bit more common in fighting games. However, I think it is a necessity in Guilty Gear Strive rather than a preference. The reason being, Strive is an extremely volatile fighting game. It's no lie that Strive is high damage. It's always been high damage, and it probably always will be. However, that high damage and volatility leads to situations where some characters are able to just get rounds, and there's not really much you can do about it. Characters like Slayer, Nago, Potemkin can get one good read or one happy accident and do so much damage that a comeback is nigh impossible. These are the extreme examples. There's other ones like Happy Chaos and Zardo who are able to win one interaction and then force you into a situation where you're guessing the majority of the time. If you guess wrong, you're gonna lose a lot of life. Of course, characters with random factors like Faust or Asuka sometimes can just pull really good, and you can lose because your opponent pulls 7 mini-Faust, or Asuka gets a god-tier hand and is able to just stop you from playing the game. Longer sets don't reduce the volatility of the game, but they allow for more opportunities to happen over the course of a set. If you end up getting robbed of a round because of a bullshit mini-Faust or a really unfortunate counter hit or an RNG gunshot, it feels less bad because you have more rounds to work with. You have to literally get robbed more, and over the course of the set, the more skillful player is more likely to win. With shorter sets, players are kind of incentivized to be more random. If you have a DP, it's not uncommon in rank to just send it as much as you can, because the opponent has less time to adapt to you doing it constantly. Yeah, you could die more, but they have less chances to kill you. I would really like it if the rank mode was changed to a first to 3 format instead of a first to 2. However, I do understand the decision. The flip side of this is first to 2 is way faster. If you're playing the game more casually, just going into ranked after a little bit of work, just to try and have some fun, you probably don't want to be playing constant first to 3 sets. First to 2 is much faster, much quicker, gets more people into more games more often, and generally gets them back into the rank pool much quicker. I wouldn't be surprised if this is something that isn't addressed for the entirety of the game, and we, as the competitive community, just have to keep first to 3 as the tournament format, while having ranked play as a first to 2 format, but we'll see. It is just very annoying since Strive has been first to 3 in Arxis official tournaments since the game came out. Seriously, Arc World Tour does first to 3, and they do first to 2 in their rank mode. It's a bit It's a bit weird. To go back to a point I made earlier, the connection between players is still pretty good. Strive's rollback has always been good. Not the best nowadays, but back when it came out, it was absolutely amazing. However, there is still the issue that sometimes people just get disconnected from each other for seemingly no reason. There's matches I've played where the opponent has just disconnected, and it's not been a rage quit. We've just DC'd and not really known why. It's very annoying whenever this happens, especially if it's an intense set, or it looks like a rage quit. So I hope that Arxis still works on their back end to make sure that the game functions more often than not. Granted, this is in like 5% of the matches that I've had, but it is still very frustrating when it happens to you. However, if the opponent does it intentionally, aka if they rage quit out of a match, there is 0 penalty for doing that, which is weird. Now, I'm pretty sure the system isn't built to identify what is a rage quit and what is a fault on its part, which is why they probably didn't add a penalty for you getting disconnected from a match. Having the game randomly disconnect you would feel so much worse if you lost points for it. But it also means that opponents can just rage quit freely. There's not even a statistic that says how many matches they disconnected from. Games like Tekken 8 have a little indicator that tell you how many times they've booted out of a match. So something like that would go more of a way for you to know who you're about to go up against. The block feature is nice, though. If you know your opponent rage quit on you, you can just block them, and from there, you'll never end up fighting them again, which is a decent-ish solution, but I would still really like it if rage quitting was just disincentivized entirely. I don't want to harp too much on this next one because Arxis have addressed it and they are saying that they are working on a solution, but there is currently a bug where you just have the chance to fight the same guy over and over and over and over again. I've run into this bug several times where I've finished a match, gone out, and then had to fight the same guy right after. Like, no break in between, immediately fighting the next guy. I think every time I've streamed ranked, I've run into this bug, and it can be very annoying. If you're someone like me who's playing ranked to fight as many different people as possible and just have fun, having a forced upon you long set against a player can be kind of annoying. Hopefully this is fixed soon, but right now it is a very annoying issue. And finally, Diamond's kind of a slog to get through. This has been a problem in a bunch of different fighting games with ranked mode, but once you get to, like, Diamond, it becomes very hard to get through. Not because the competition is necessarily harder, but because there's so many points required just to get there. If you want to get from Diamond 3 to Vanquisher, you need about, like, 60 wins in a row in order to get there. It is fucking insane. There's no win streak bonus. I don't really understand how the points are distributed. Sometimes you get like 80 or 90 points, and then sometimes you get like 110. It's a really weird distribution. It does make me think that there is a hidden elo in the background that tells you how many points you should get, but it is very annoying slogging your way through Diamond when it feels like you should kind of just be Vanquisher already. This also goes with the fact that Diamond 3 is a really weird rank right now. Considering the fact that the mode has only been out for a week, the majority of, like, top 8ers have already got their mains into Vanquisher. But there's still a subset of people who haven't been able to play the game as much because they have work or life or weird cringe stuff like that. But they're still amazing players, so they have to get their character to Vanquisher, so they have to slog through Diamond 3. Or maybe a top level player is leveling their ult. So you find yourself in this weird situation where Diamond 3 can feel like people who just got to Diamond 3 by really slugging their way through it. They're a bit of an unknown. They're a good player, but they're not that good. Or you're fighting fucking one of the best people on their character, like, just there because they haven't got into Vanquisher yet. Very strange rank, and it can be a bit of a frustrating one. However, I think this problem is going to sort itself out over time. The more that people play, the more that people get into Vanquisher, the more that Diamond 3 becomes the Diamond 3 rank, and not Vanquisher Light. Still though, I made it to Vanquisher on, like, day 3, so I'm fucking... And that's about it. That covers the majority of my thoughts around ranked matchmaking. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. Like I said, I think it is really good. I think it's almost perfect. It just needs a little bit more tweaking to get there. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. We're going to be streaming tomorrow. I'm taking today off. I'm just making this video and then basically going to sleep. It's going to be great. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye!